Sometimes you don't want to have to wait for user input, and sometimes you just don't want things to be preordained. If you want chaos in your program, there's good news. You can generate a random number, but it takes some effort to set up. Let's print 5 random numbers to the serial terminal as soon as the program starts. In setup, write serial.begin 9600. Under that, write for int I equals 0, semicolon, I less than 5, semicolon, I plus plus, close that out, open curly brace. Under that, serial.print random, open parentheses, 1, 101, close parentheses. And then serial.print quotes space quotes. And make sure you've closed out that for loop. Under that, write serial.println, open parentheses, close parentheses. We're using the built-in Arduino random function to make this happen. We feed random 2 integers as arguments. Random will randomly pick an integer between these 2 integers, including the first but excluding the second. In our example, random will return something between 1 and 100, which means the minimum is 1 and the maximum value is 1 less than the second argument. Run it. We see 5 seemingly random numbers between 1 and 100 printed to the terminal. Why do I say seemingly? Well, let me press the reset button on my Arduino. What happens? Those are the same numbers. I can keep pressing the reset button and the same supposedly random numbers will keep appearing. What's going on here? To find out, we turn to our trusty reference guide on arduino.cc. Scroll down to Random Numbers and click on Random. This says that the numbers are pseudo-random. Pseudo-random means that the numbers satisfy one or more statistical tests for randomness, but produced by a definite mathematical procedure. This means that the numbers in our sequence, when compared to each other, are random. However, the particular algorithm used to generate these numbers will produce the same sequence every time. The way to avoid this is to set the random number generator seed. This is just another number used to initialize the generator. To do this, call random seed, open parentheses, 10, close parentheses, just before serial.begin. Upload and look at the output. Aha, different numbers. Okay, let's reset the Arduino. Blast, it's the same set of different numbers. Over and over and over again. The seed changed the pseudo-random number sequence, but having a constant seed causes the same set of numbers to appear again. We need to find a way to change the seed every time we start the program. Can you think of anything that might be different every time we cycle power on the Arduino? This isn't an easy problem. In order to generate truly random numbers, we need a truly random seed. One trick we can do in the Arduino is read the voltage from an analog pin that we're not using. If the pin isn't attached to anything, we can consider it floating, which means the voltage is unknown. Due to the internal workings of the Arduino, it's likely to be somewhere between 0 and 5 volts. But we have no clue what that value might be. That sounds pretty random. So we replace 10 with analog read A0. This reads the analog voltage of pin A0 on the Arduino and returns a number between 0 for 0 volts and 1023 for 5 volts. We'll talk more in detail about reading analog voltages in a later lecture, but for now, know that this works well for seeding your random number generator. Click Upload and look at your serial monitor. Now, when I reset the Arduino, you'll see a much more random set appear every time. Remember, this trick only works if you have nothing connected to A0 driving the voltage to any particular value. If you don't have any analog ports available, there are some other tricks you can do to get a random seed. For example, you might count the time it takes for somebody to push a button. As it turns out, humans aren't that precise, so timing user input is a pretty random thing to do. For now, know that using analog read should get you through most of your random seeding needs.